Well, in what seems to be an absolutely shocking case, one can really work, and the Indian government is working towards changing the colonial names across the cities in India, across places. But what can one really do to change the colonial mindset? This is a bizarre story, a shocking story that is coming from nowhere else but Navi Mumbai. This is the story where a top bureaucrat and his brother have allegedly beaten up two engineers who were working for a company and had come to fix the Wi-Fi router in the top bureaucrat's place. Now, this is the details that we have received. These are the allegations that have come up. These are the visuals on your screen. Those injury marks on the body, just look at them. They are absolutely shocking. How can anyone fathom these injury marks? What would have just happened at that place? What would have conspired? We don't know any of these things. But why did this happen? At least from what has emerged right now, these are allegations that the bureaucrat and his brother were upset with the speed of the Wi-Fi. They were not happy with what was happening with their Wi-Fi router. But what could have really caused these injury marks? FIR has been registered and all of this was caught on CCTV. The bureaucrat and his brother have also filed a counter complaint against the engineers indicating physical abuse. Mirror now reached out to the IAS officer who said it was they who called the security and cops and have alleged that it was the bureaucrat and the brother who were first assaulted and had started bleeding. There are unending stories of brazen high-handedness of a typical mindset. Remember the stadium in Delhi which was being emptied so a bureaucrat could take a walk with his dog? The MP bureaucrat who got an entire reservoir emptied to be able to retrieve his phone that fell into it. These are just some of the examples right before us. And I'm being joined right now by Arunil, who's one of the victims in this particular case. Arunil, आपने strong allegations लगाए हैं. क्या हुआ? What happened? Right, I'm very sorry. This is not. This is my very own colleague who joins us at this point. Arunil, what are the details that we have at this point?
Well, this is brazen high-handedness by a senior bureaucrat, an IAS officer, somebody who is a UPSC pass out, a part of the Maharashtra government, serving as the deputy secretary in the water and sanitation department. Now, according to the FIR that has been registered by the Rabale police station, basically two engineers who are working for a top telecom company went to the residence of this IAS officer Aman Mittal, and what they have basically shown pictures of the physical abuse and how they were beaten up as well. There are bruise marks all over their body. Bones have also been fractured. They basically are accusing the bureaucrat and his brother of beating them up when they went to his residence to fix up the router problem, Wi-Fi problem that was there. Apparently, the bureaucrat and his brother were not happy with the Wi-Fi connection that they had got. So that doesn't give them any authority or the powers to beat up the servicemen or service-related people who had come to their residence. However, a counter FIR has also been registered by the IAS officer Aman Mittal. Their family is saying that there was physical abuse from the engineer side as well, and that is why a countermeasure was being taken by them to beat up these engineers from a top telecom company. The cops are already investigating the case. Till now, no arrest has been made in this entire case.
Right. Arunil, these are just such bizarre incidents that would happen. our teams have also spoken to the victims in this particular case. Of course, the IAS officer and his brother have also filed an FIR, as you were reporting in this particular case. But the injury marks are extremely shocking, Arunil.
But there is no doubt about it. The injury marks are very brutal. It basically reeks about why till now no action has been initiated against this IAS officer. Because the injury marks that these two engineers who had gone to the residence of the IAS officer just to fix up a router, the injury marks that they are showing, these are very serious. And till now, unfortunately, no action has been initiated against Aman Mittal as well, who basically is counter-arguing and saying in his FIR, in his complaint that was later on converted into an FIR, saying that there was physical abuse meted out by the engineers as well. But clearly, it looks like the engineers in this case were the ones who were beaten up, because they are showing proof of the manhandling by the IAS officer and his brother as well. Whereas from the other side, till now at least, no evidence has been shown. Whether they have shown that evidence to the cops, we are in touch with the investigating police also. Somebody who's associated with the water and sanitation department of the Maharashtra government, whether at least till the investigation is going on, any action will be taken against Aman Mittal. We will be keeping a close eye on that.
Right. Thank you very much for all of those details. Absolutely shocking story emerging here. And if you look at the visuals, that really is very telling. We've, of course, reached out to the IAS officer himself, and we have asked him if he could show any visuals, because he has claimed he was assaulted first and he had started bleeding. We've asked if he could share any visuals, if he would want to come and join us, if he could give us any statements. None of them as of now. I'm being joined right now by Shailesh Gandhi, who's a former CIC, as well as Tanvir Zafar Ali, retired IAS officer. Well, first to you, Mr. Shailesh Gandhi. I don't think anybody can justify anything in this, but my question really is, how is this repeating?
It's horrible. It's absolutely inhuman, the kind of injury marks that are being shown. In fact, violence against any person is illegal and wrong and must be punished. And if this is true, the police should take immediate action. This comes out of arrogance and the fact that police does not act if the person is powerful, which needs to change. Article 14 of our Constitution promises equality before law to everyone, and this should be implemented by the police immediately. People are saying there appears to be no injury marks on the...
We'll just come back to you. There seems to be some audio issue and we're trying to rectify the line. But let me just go over to Mr. Tanvir Zafar. Mr. Tanvir, you're a retired IAS officer. You're part of an association as well. You know, there are both the sides, FIRs have been filed. There are allegations and there are counters. But I'm just looking at these injury marks. Initially, when I got to know about this news and I followed this news, it of course sounded, it sounded at so many levels about high-handedness and all of that. But looking at these injury marks, when I did see them for the first time, it took me a few minutes. What must have just happened there for this level of injury marks? These are, what do you say, slashes across the back. How could this happen?
This is, Sneha ji, ridiculous and shameful. And it not only shames every individual, but it also shames your service in which you are. When you see, there's a very old dictum that the power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. There are certain individuals, when they join these services, they think they suddenly become God. And they are the rulers of the society, which is a very, very ridiculous thing. Because you see, don't call it exactly a colonial hang-up. Because these things happen not even in services, but with so many MLAs and MPs and ministers, you keep on reading newspapers, they're also involved.
Absolutely.
And when they are dealt with impunity, no action is being taken, then these young officers, they also think we can also do anything. So strictest action should be taken against them. And if the CCTV footage is the prime evidence, they should be immediately suspended, so that there should be a lesson for all other people plus the public that the government is fair, because it reflects very poorly on the district administration and the government both if you don't take action. In such cases where senior officers and of responsible services like IAS and IPS are involved, the district magistrate and SP, they contact the home secretary, principal secretary home, who in turn contacts chief secretary and the principal secretary to chief minister to get the clearance. But the clearance should have been taken right now.
Yeah,
Very, very soon.
that's my idea. You know, I'm trying to understand here why this delay in action. I mean, there has to be a probe, I understand. But
that's wrong. Again,
how long does the probe take?
You are right. Again, you are showing me a visual of a district magistrate Sahab assaulting some journalist on the road. This is so ridiculous. They should be ashamed of it. When you are in any profession, Sneha, either you are in media or a doctor or an engineer or any service, you also carry the reputation and dignity of that service over your shoulders. Each act of yours is going to reflect on your service. Oh, this officer, this doctor, the doctors do this, officers do this. In British period, the IAS was known as Indian Civil Service to serve the civil society, which after 47 we changed the name to Indian Administrative Service. That doesn't mean that, okay, we run the administration, but you are basically to serve the common man, individual common public. This is not the way you. I mean, this young DM assaulting some journalist who is showing.
The line with Mr. Shailesh Gandhi seems to be rectified right now. Mr. Shailesh Gandhi, one even falls short of these questions, you know. I mean, I introduced this topic saying we are making massive changes. We are making changes in the names. We are changing Rajpath to Kartavya Path. There are so many other changes that have happened to places, to regions, and all of these things, Mr. Shailesh Gandhi. But how does one get over the colonial mindset? How do you get over this hangover that some people just don't seem to be able to get over? And then you have this brazen support system. Silence, a shroud of silence. This is an officer in power. I'm not saying whether he's done it or not. That is for the legal teams, for the police and everybody to find out. But there is an allegation. The first thing is, let him step aside. Let him be moved. Let him be removed from a place of influence temporarily till there's a probe.
It's not colonial. This is feudal. It goes back 2 centuries. And people with power, who get power, seem to feel that they are gods, as the earlier panelists said. They need to understand that they are not gods. And it is not a question of how much power you have or do not have. Any human being beating another person like this is unacceptable. It is inhuman. It's uncivilized. And police should have acted immediately and taken his statement and put him in prison unless he had some evidence to show that he was beaten up. No evidence seems to have been shown, at least to Arun here, also your correspondent. And if this is true, this is completely unacceptable. Only shows that we are going in a backward march. Instead of progressing towards a better civilization, we are becoming less civilized. That's what this displays. And this needs to be corrected and punished immediately.
Mr. Tanvir Zafar, there's always a word, you know, which one associates with official communication of bureaucrats or, you know, of government communication, gobbledygook. It's just so shrouded in terms and all of very technical parlance for that matter. But what does one say to the culture of silence that suddenly surrounds an official when he is named or accused in something? This is not something that would happen anywhere else. You know, if you have a politician who is accused of something, if a media person is accused of something, if anybody in the public domain is accused of something, there'll be voices from all over. But something against the bureaucrat just gets complete silence.
Well, no, but this is wrong. This silence is very, very bad, and it gives a very, very poor effect on the psyche of the public as well as on others. So I told you, the channel I told you, that in such cases, that the district administration has to take an approval from high ups. That is Home Department and Chief Secretary and this. and then they have to be very quick in that. If there is a prima facie evidence that any officer, any person, no one is above law. If he is accused of doing something he has done, then immediate action is taken, should be taken against him. That's very imperative. If you're going to delay for it, that's wrong. It gives a very poor impression.
Right. Just one question, again, if I may just ask to Mr. Shailesh. He's a top IAS officer. He's in Maharashtra. But IAS officers are also central cadres. So who's responsible for this? Just to clear this for our audience.
In my view,
Who's
this is a
responsible
criminal
to take
offense.
action against him?
This is a criminal action. This is a criminal act. And police should act irrespective of who you are. We have, unfortunately, certain laws like this where you need to take permission for proceeding against somebody if he or she is an official, which is wrong and which is wrongly employed. All citizens of this country are equal as per Article 14 of our Constitution. We keep talking of the Constitution but do not really follow it. We do not even understand what it means. This gentleman must be held accountable just like any ordinary citizen.
Right, right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. There isn't any scope of discussion or debate in this. Frankly, you just have to call it out for what it is. However, as I said, there's a probe underway. There are 2 FIRs which have been filed. But whatever the finding be out of this, the injury marks on this particular person's body in today's times is very, very hard to come to terms with. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
And now some breaking news that seems